Good evening. How you doing, sir?
Yes, sir.
For me, this is the year 2018. A lot of things have changed in this world, and we got to be able to change along with it. The change in the form of government does not necessarily mean that we want to get rid of Mr. Paisley or anything like that. The change in the form of government for me is that the county has paid me for go to classes all over South Carolina, Washington, D.C. And all the classes and discussion we've had have indicated that the administrative form of government is working better. And that is the only reason we are talking about changing the form of government. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. However, we are not trying to take any rights from the citizens. The citizens still have an opportunity to vote in November. We're not trying to take any rights away from it. We are just saying that it is now 2018. A lot of things have changed, and we need to start looking at changes ourselves. We just can't stay in one place for 20, 30 years and expect for the county to grow. In order for the county to grow, we have to make changes. And that's just one change we are talking about.
Mr. Miller, who is the form of government? Who is the people? Who's going to be the administrative form of government? Who are they? Who are they?
When you say the administrative form of government?
Yeah, who are they? That's a name, but who is they?
That could be anyone.
Okay.
That could be anyone.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, or evening rather, to the council and to you. I just wanted to ask a question. If we go to the administrative form of government and the council fires the administrator, is that the way it's going to be? You hire and you fire. Okay, so if you hire somebody, you don't like them, you fire them and pay their contracts out. Is that how that's going to work? It's like the school district did.
It would depend on how you formulate the contract also. Billy, is that right, Billy? It would depend on how you formulate the contract when you hire them.
You don't have to hire them with a contract.
Contract is part of it. You hire them to have a contract.
No, she was asking, if you hire them, you got to pay them out of the contract for the duration of the contract. I'm saying, I guess that would be stipulated in the contract, how you word the contract, right?
Right.
Yeah, it don't have to be, you don't have to do that.
It doesn't have to be that way. If you get a contract that says you're hired for 4 years and then you get fired in the middle of that 4 years, you don't have to pay them out.
That depends on a lot of legal issues, but that typically is what happens.
Right, that's what I thought. They pay, yeah, they pay. But you're not going to use contracts, you're saying. Will someone accept a job like that without a contract?
Much more authority than we have here. Don't have a contract. Much more money.
We didn't hear what we came to Andy.
That's what we have. That's what we sits on boards that pays the director more money than any administrator being paid, and does not work with the contract. It's all, I think, according to how you formulate it, how a person feel about the position they're going into. But I agree with you, if you go with a contract, then if something happens in that contract, according to how you got to draw it up, then you may have to end up paying. That's protect each other. But you don't necessarily have to have a contract either, just because you can hire administrators.
But if you have a contract, Andy, it still depends on how you formulate the contract.
Correct. I said that.
Tell him, maybe, like Mr. Robinson said, maybe you can formulate where nobody won't accept it. But it still goes back to whether you have to pay that person or not for the duration of the contract, how the contract is formulated. That's what it goes back to.
Well, I was just wondering because I know what the school district has done and paid every superintendent for the last, 25 years, paid them out of their contract before. And I just don't want us to get into something else like that because we waste too much money that could be used for much more profitable things. And that's my concern, that we don't want to get ourselves tied down and continually paying out money we don't have to pay out.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just wondering about, I know I wouldn't take a job like that without a contract. Thank you.
In address of what Ms. Robinson said, and that's a good question what she said there. But you know, in me, looking at the various counties that have the administrative form of government, out of 46 counties, we have possibly the most would be 4 that have the supervisor form of government. Out of those other 42 counties, I've never read or heard that much about they getting in a lawsuit with the administrator, they have to fire them or pay them out. Williamsburg County, we sit here and we try to address county council at the school board. Total different ball field.
No, it's not.
County council is totally different than a school board.
No, it's not.
When we hire our people, teachers come up on contract every year. That's a buddy system, trying to get a person in there. You can put it in, the person can say whatever they want. If you're sitting around this table, you'll find out the school board and county council is totally different. And I'll tell you what else. If you should elect a administrative form of government, I am a county council. And I feel as though that anyone that is electing their citizens to represent them should look at them very strong, see what kind of business minded they have, and just don't choose anybody to be your county council. And I feel as though that they would make wise decisions. Please don't put county council, whether I'm sitting around this table or not, with the school board. It's totally different. Totally different. It's a whole lot different. Supervisor, administrator, town employees. County council don't hire or have no employees. We don't vote on, we don't even vote on employees' contract. Totally different ball field. Totally different. So don't put us with the county council, please. With the school board.
I don't think, Councilman, all due respect, what this is talking about is the process. In the process that the school board uses to select the superintendent, in the process that the town of King Street, the town of Hemingway, and other jurisdictions used in selecting the town manager would be the same process that this council or any of the other councils across the state or nation that selects an administrator is the same. And so I think it's a very accurate statement to say that the process that the school board uses, this would be the type of process that would be used, you know, by a county council. But again, any other questions or any comments from any of the other citizens? Because we're going to proceed to close the public hearing. Any other questions or comments going once? Any other questions or comments going twice? Any other questions or comments going 3 times? Hearing none, I consider this hearing closed on the ordinance to change the form of government. We're going to move right on into the ordinance regarding the approving of an agreement for the development of the joint county industrial park between Georgetown County, South Carolina, and Williamsburg County, South Carolina, and other matters relating to the foregoing. And I think everybody is aware this is a usual and customary industrial agreement for development that we're entering into with Georgetown County. They are about to develop some properties there, and we have been asked to join them in a joint development.
Jim,
Yes, sir.
I want to call your attention. We are going to have a regular meeting. We normally start with invocation.
No, sir, we're not there yet. No, sir, we're dealing with the second part of the public hearing, which is the Georgetown County consolidating or doing an industrial park. We're still in public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I open the floor for any questions or comments regarding the joint industrial park with Georgetown County.
I got one question. Is there a proposed location for this facility here?
I'm not sure exactly where they're going to locate the industry in question in Georgetown County, but it's somewhere in Georgetown County where this is for the steel mill, Georgetown Steel, I believe.
This doesn't include any property at this point in time. We're simply setting up the park.
Right.
And then the next ordinance will be to add properties to the park. This is only setting the park. Does everybody know how big the park is? It's the boundaries of Georgetown County.
The whole body.
All right. Thank you for the clarification, Attorney General. Mr. Brown, do you understand?
I understand.
The park is going to be right now in Georgetown County.
So basically you're saying this is just an agreement to enter into a future event that may happen.
It's just a matter of formality. That's all.
In order for them to offer the types of incentives that they would benefit from by having this partnership with Williamsburg County, this allows them to be able to, when they're negotiating with a company that would come into Georgetown County, that they can offer this as an incentive.
So what is the benefit to Williamsburg County?
We will get a percentage of the proceeds from the taxes that they will pay to Georgetown. By being a part of this industrial park with Georgetown County, we will get a portion of the revenue from whatever project or industry that comes into their area. We'll get a portion of it.
Early in the process, but would there be a cost to Williamsburg County prior to the company coming in?
There would be no cost to us. As this is developed, Georgetown County, if there are any expenses that would be borne, I believe that they would assume that, but there's no cost to Williamsburg County at this point.
It's the amount that we advertise in the paper. That's it. There's no cost for
The
it.
advertisement.
This is a free.
Mr. Supervisor, this was set up many years ago by the General Assembly, whereas the very rich counties would help the poor counties out. We have industrial parks like Greenville, Spartanburg, and other counties. Now we have Georgetown and Berkeley County. All of those counties, Williamsburg County will receive a certain amount of money because they're poorer than the rest of them. Yancey McGill and the rest of them, they set that up many years ago.
All right, any other questions? Good question. Any other questions? Any other questions going once? Any other questions going twice? Any other questions going 3 times? Hearing none, I declare the public hearing closed. At this time, we will call our regular council meeting to order, and I'll ask Mr. McKnight if he would to lead us in prayer.
Again, let us pray. thank you, dear Father, for allowing us to wake up this morning, come out to tend to the business that you have assigned our hands to do. We thank you for the participants that have come out that have the concern of Williamsburg County. We ask, dear Father, that you send down your angels. Watch over Williamsburg County. Lead us and guide us, Lord, because you know all about it. Lord, as we deliberate in this meeting tonight, we ask, dear Father, that whatever said and done, be pleasing in your sight, dear Father. Because we know, dear Father, there's nothing we can do without you. And Lord, oh, dear Father Jesus, when we should leave this place, we wish and we ask in the precious name of Jesus, even though we may have different ideas, different views, but we all one, and we are still your children. And Lord, help us to have a safe return back to our destination. This is another blessing we ask in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. At this time, again, good evening to everyone as we move on into our regular council meeting. I would entertain a motion for the approval of minutes from the public hearing, regular council meeting on April 17, 2018.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed is the same. Ayes have it, so ordered. Mr. Jenkins.
Supervisor, members of council, I would like to yield a moment the floor to our good friend Senator Ronnie Sapp. He had a matter of public interest he needed to bring to us, and he wanted to go ahead and do that now so he could get in another meeting he needed to go to.
All right.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, James. Members of council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
I wanted to come, it's that time again. You all might recall last year in May, we celebrated the South Carolina Day of Service by doing a team-up to clean up effort. And of course, we had the full participation of council, and so we wanted to come again. We realized that Councilmember Joe Miller's team the last time got more bags of trash up than anybody else, and so then the effort is to outdo him this year. But I participated in Leadership South Carolina 2.5 years ago or so, and we have a project that each class undertakes. And so our class came up with the idea of the South Carolina Day of Service. We chose, last year we did it on May 21st, but we actually chose it during the period of time where we celebrate the birth of our state. South Carolina's date of birth has been recorded as being May the 23rd of 1788. And so our goal is to do something service-oriented to make our state a better place to live during this particular time of year at a minimum. Obviously, we ought to be doing what we can for our state, for our community on a daily basis, but at this particular point in time, we want to pause to do it. And so on the 19th of May, we are asking all of us, and I'm so glad so many folks are here in the audience, because we need the entire participation of everybody in our county. If you travel our roads the way that I do, you see the amount of trash that we have on our roads, and I think that as a community, if we were to focus on it, we could really keep our area a whole lot cleaner. My grandmother used to talk about the notion of cleanliness being next to godliness years ago. And last year, I think the sheriff told me today that we picked up in excess of 600 bags of trash last year. And so this year we want to do an even greater arm of service by picking up even more bags. So I wanted to come before council and our supervisor and ask y'all to please, ma'am, and sirs, help us again this year by organizing our community so that we can have a successful cleanup. And thank you all for all that you do, and thank you all for being here as well. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I don't think there's any question, Senator, that you'll have the full cooperation of council to support you.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking your time to be with us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of council. If I may take a moment also tag on to Senator Sabb, who's also a member of our Lions Club. And on the 19th, we're taking to the river, and we're going to clean up Black River. And every year on that weekend, we go to Black River and put kayaks and boats in, and it's amazing the trash we remove from our beautiful Black River. As a part of that same cleanup, we're making that effort. And Senator Sabb is also Lions Senator Sabb that day. Helps us as well. I have a few items. First, a report briefly on the Canton Landing matter. I sent a letter to you that we received from DNR, Department of Natural Resources, investigated the Canton Landing allegation that a cemetery had been covered up by paving a parking lot in that location. DNR actually was in charge of that matter, but the county participated, and there were some allegations about it. They thoroughly investigated it, and their legal counsel wrote us a letter saying that they found no evidence that a cemetery had been paved over. I thought it was interesting because I did read some of the evidence. I would pass on. Back when it was first surveyed for this parking lot, Jim Ellis, a local surveyor, went there and surveyed the property. And a surveyor is charged with finding anything on the ground and marking it like a cemetery. Light poles, roads, anything of any significance. Mr. Ellis had heard there were allegations about a cemetery, interviewed a number of people in the community and brought them there and walked them around and had detailed notes on it. And everybody then indicated the cemetery was not in the area where the paved parking lot was, if it was there. Different people had different recollections about where it may have been located, but it was not going to be in that location. They also did a lot of historic research with archives and found no evidence based on that letter that a cemetery had been paved over by Williamsburg County. So I'm closing my file on it at this particular point. I don't know what else can be done with the exhaustive research that is done into this and the public concern, because no one wants to be desecrating a historic graveyard by any stretch of imagination. So we find no evidence, and I wanted council to know that. Council.
I do appreciate everything that you've done, because it is on the beautiful Black River, and they've had a lot of questions about that. I went through a whole react about that, but I'm very glad to know that we brought this to a close, and I want to say thank you very much.
Well, thank you for taking me down there and guiding me around as well, and showing me the area as part of our investigation. For third reading tonight, we have ordinance number 2018-6, which is the ordinance dealing with the referendum to allow the qualified electors of Williamsburg County to vote to change its form of government from council supervisor to council administrator, which was the subject of our public hearing. For third reading, Mr. Supervisor.
Pleasure of council. It's been properly moved in second. All those who are in favor of the motion, please show by show of hands. All right. All those opposed? The hands in favor of the referendum have approved it. Moving on to the number 2.
Third reading of ordinance 2018-7, an ordinance approving an agreement for development of a joint county industrial and business park between Georgetown County and Williamsburg County. That is the second portion of the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman.
Been moved and properly second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed is the same. The ayes have it. So ordered.
Next item is first reading ordinance 2018-8, which is the Williamsburg County proposed budget ordinance for fiscal year 2018-19.
Before we go Mr. Supervisor, with you being the chairman of the finance committee, can you provide, could we have a meeting with the full budget as we always did before we do the first reading? Meet with the finance committee?
We had a meeting with the finance committee meeting, Councilwoman, if you recall.
Yes, sir.
And we extended an invitation to all of the council to participate, and I think all members of council were there except for 2 members. Now, we talked about this back in October. We had a budget kickoff meeting with council being present. We listened to the department heads that expressed concerns, and we dealt with the priorities. Then we set a schedule pursuant to passage of our budget. And as a result of that meeting, we began the process to develop our budget. Now, the state, under the statute, it's clear that it's the supervisor's responsibility to prepare the annual budget and the capital budget, and for the council to submit to council. And so that's what we have implemented, is what the state law requires us, Section 4-9-410. And as a result of that statute, and we made this very clear, again, back in October, we began that process. We engaged all of our department heads and presented them with the data, the sheets that they needed to develop their budgets, set a deadline of November the 29th for their budgets to be submitted. Got agencies who get allocations from our budget to submit on December the 15th. Had department heads meetings on February the 6th. At that time, we had a $1.6 million deficit. On February the 6th through the 16th, individual department heads met with the finance staff and myself to discuss the budgets. Then on February 16th, we had version 2 of the budgets. From February the 16th to March the 30th, we collected all the data regarding the budgets and information and gave the department heads an opportunity to weigh in. On April 16th, we had a budget meeting with all of the department heads and presented a balanced budget to them. And at that time, there was only one department that had any questions, and by the end of that day, we resolved their concern. On April 17th, as a result of that meeting, we ended up with a balanced budget with a 2% cost of living increase, with no tax increase presented to the citizens. And we held a finance committee meeting on April 17th, where we clearly discussed and entertained all of the questions that the members who were present there had indicated. Then we completed the package based upon that information and sent the information out to council, all members of council. You know, on that, and the budget was ready, and the council had the budget for their review since that time up until now, almost 3-4 weeks. And the budget information, we had budget information sessions on April the 23rd, and we didn't have any department head or council members to request or come by for any questions. And then on May 1st, we had another session, and I think at one point, Councilwoman, you